The 2006 Volleyball Incident. On July 2nd, 2017, an anonymous user posted a thread on 4chan's paranormal board saying, "How does one live after taking the red pill on the 2006 Volleyball Incident?" Now, if you're wondering what that incident was, it's a strange and disturbing story.
Hold on. Were those googly eyes,
Now,
dude?
if you're
That
wondering
looked
what
like
that incident was, it's a strange
Bro, I thought this was an entity in this room.
and disturbing story. The post was referring to a supposed mass shooting where a gunman killed 14 people during a high school volleyball game in either South or Nebraska back in 2006. But here's where things get strange. If you search for any information about it online, you'll find nothing. No news articles, no official casualty reports, nothing. Just conspiracy theory websites and the occasional Reddit post asking if it even happened. It's like the whole event either never existed or was somehow erased from history. But despite the silence online, there are many people who claim they remember hearing about it. Some even say they were at Mount Rushmore around that time and heard a report about it on the radio.
Is this like the Mandela effect
For a long time, the only evidence of the incident on the internet was this still frame from a home video that was supposedly taken just before the incident with the date September 27, 2006 embedded on it. That is, until some ordinary gamer, a YouTuber who often dives into dark web rabbit holes, discovered more evidence. While browsing the Late Nights forum on a 4chan-like site, he came across the gruesome pictures of a bloody school gym that were allegedly taken soon after the shooting had already happened.
So right here, let's go down a little bit over here. They've
we're
got
blurring that.
2006 volley. Oh my god. Oh, we're gonna have to blur this one. Jesus Christ, that's actually like death footage. I think I remember this. I was searching around for some sort of proof of this happening, and apparently it's a snippet from a home video. Oh my god. We have to blur that out. I gotta make sure we note that, blur it real quick. Let me add that to the notes here. Jesus. It's like an actual straight up bloody massacre. It's like VHS recorded. This has to be from like a movie. There's no way. This has to be from like some movie. It's crazy as hell. That it's got like a CBI not for release.
Wait, Crazy the Bounce Back? I think I've seen him a couple times on Twitter, and there's been a couple videos of his been recommended, but I don't know who he is. Mudahar? He did a bounce back? Okay. No, sorry, I just wasn't familiar with him.
Like, I assume CBI stands for like some sort of a governmental organization or something. That is so messed up. I feel like I should have known this or something. I don't even know if that's like a conspiracy. How is that a conspiracy? It's actually like death foot, unless it's from like some movie or something that we don't know about. Jesus Christ. That is actually the most chilling thing I've seen. We're like 5 minutes into this recording, and already it's just like death footage.
Well, fuck me, man. Now I want to Google this shit.
Hit the building.
Obviously
in the bottom right corner was the text, "CBI not for release," which I'll do my best to show you while blurring everything else out. This has led to some pretty wild theories being spread all over the internet. According to the most popular ones, the incident did happen, but it was covered up by the American government. As the story goes, the government was trying to assassinate someone who was attending this high school volleyball game. Things got out of hand, however, and a lot of the young volleyball players were caught in the crossfire. And since this would have caused tons of backlash from the public, the government instructed the news media to not talk about the story and also paid the victims' families to keep them quiet. However, while the US government is no stranger to covering up the truth, I have to admit this one is quite far-fetched. Keeping something this big under wraps for so long feels pretty out there. At some point, you'd think the truth would slip out. A somewhat more reasonable theory is that this is a classic case of the Mandela effect, where large groups of people collectively misremember something.
I literally just said that, the Mandela effect.
And coincidentally enough, I actually did find a similar incident that happened in 2006 in that region. In the Platte Canyon High School situation, 53-year-old Dwayne Roger Morrison took 7 female students hostage, attacked them, and ended up shooting one of them. This also took place on September 27, 2006, which is the same date on which the alleged photo was taken before the incident. Its location in Colorado might also explain why people from the Midwest remember hearing about it on the news. But there are some major differences. Most notably, the Platte Canyon incident had nothing to do with a volleyball game, and there was only one death. But in saying all of that, the most likely scenario is that all of this is a hoax. While researching this incident, I came across an interesting post on the forum Above Top Secret from 2017. In this post, the OP was talking about creating a hoax in which multiple school shootings happened in 2006 in tiny towns, but any information relating to these incidents has been mysteriously erased from the public record. But if that's the case, the images that some ordinary gamer came across, where did they come from? Considering it's been over 7 years since this first contract.
It could have been like photoshopped. It could have been like you said, taken from a movie. It could have been a lot of things, you know.
On the internet, it's unlikely we'll ever know the answer to this disturbing internet rabbit hole. Grave robbing for morons.
What the fuck, grave robbing?
On August 8, 2014, a user by the name Simon Predj
Oh, that's the channel. Okay.
posted a video on YouTube titled Grave Robbing for Morons. This was a digital re-upload of a very old VHS video, an extremely chilling one at that. In it, a young man goes into disturbing detail explaining step by step how to rob graves and sell the remains on the black market.
Grab it by the eyes or the nose. You pull out, put your finger all the way in. There's nothing there that will hurt you at all. Or you have to make sure of that. There's nothing that can hurt you. Do not be afraid. Pull it out like that. Do not
What are you pulling that out like a bowling ball?
pull it by the teeth, or else it'll break out like that, and you will have holes.
What makes this video
People do that, man. They grave rob. You know, people marry each other when they're dead. They call it a spirit wedding. I'm not even kidding.
even more unsettling isn't just its content, but the mystery surrounding it. No one knows who the man in the video is. To this day, his identity remains unknown, and no one has come forward to claim responsibility. This has left the internet in two fiercely opposing camps. Some believe this is authentic footage of a real grave robber. Others argue it's an obscure horror short crafted purely for shock value. Surprisingly, I came across evidence that supports both sides of the argument while researching this topic. One undeniable fact, however, is that the original video is extremely old. The earliest mention of its title, Grave Robbing for Morons, I found on the internet was a now defunct online store for horror VHS tapes called Shocking Videos. This website listed the tape for sale in April of 2003, stating, "What we have here is genuine camcorder footage of a drunken teenage stutterer giving a half-hour lecture on how to steal body parts from graveyards for fun and profit while holding a fresh, rotting skull in his hands." That said, the original video is likely from the late 80s. We can clearly see the VHS box for the 1987 Evil Dead 2 movie 5 minutes and 43 seconds into the video. And to narrow it down even more, there's an issue of Horror FX magazine visible in the bottom left corner at the same time. This specific cover was a part of a unique Fangoria horror magazine edition released in July 1989, which means that
Oh, man, dude. Man, magazines were like everything back in the day because there was no internet. So think of like magazines, right, as the internet. You know, obviously, except for it was a magazine. So basically what you would do was, because there was no internet, right, you would get like a subscription to a magazine and you would just get your information that way, dude. It was much better, actually. It was much better.
the video was probably shot around that year. The horror memorabilia scattered throughout the footage implies that whoever created this video might have been a die-hard horror fan just trying to make something creepy for the thrill of it. And while most of the gruesome advice given in the video feels very authentic, like describing ways to remove the skull from a body that hasn't fully decomposed yet, there are also sections that seem extremely goofy. Like when the host suggests knocking out witnesses so they think it was all just a dream.
Never leave witnesses. If you have to knock them out so that way they think it's a dream.
This gives further credence to the theory that the subject doesn't have any real grave robbing experience and is just making it all up for the video. On the other hand, some people argue that the skull he's showing in the video is far too detailed to be fake. As for the inconsistency in the advice, that could be explained by the theory that this was likely his first time robbing a grave, and that he was simply making things up to seem more knowledgeable on the topic than he actually was. But this is where things start getting really eerie. Toward the end of the tape, the guy almost mumbles his full name, but stops himself before saying his entire last name.
Okay, this was made by Anthony. Well, as a matter of fact, let's forget the last name.
And in 1999, a man named Anthony Casamassima was arrested in New York for stealing an expensive stained glass window from a cemetery.
Wow.
There was a real possibility that this was the same person who made the Grave Robbing for Morons guide. That being said, there are a few inconsistencies that say otherwise. For instance, I did not find any charges against Anthony Casamasima that mentioned him desecrating bodies. He was more into stealing valuable artifacts like stained glass. And more importantly, Casamasima was 40 when he was arrested in 1999. If he made the tape, he would have been around 30 at the time. However, given the young appearance of the video's subject, that seems highly unlikely. I also found a couple more theories as well, but most of them lead to dead ends. One such theory claims the guy in the video might be Craig A. Bradley, who was arrested in 1995 for stealing human remains from a cemetery in upstate New York.
Oh,
Craig would have been around 24 when the grave robbing video
dude, just imagine that's where your life goes, man. You're stealing dead people things. Jesus, man.
was filmed, which fits with the young appearance of the guy in the tape. Plus, he even looks a bit like him. However, the issue with this theory is that Craig doesn't have the stutter that was prominent in the original video.
You know, winter months I'm laid off. So winter months don't usually pay.
Dig for you and everything. So you dig and your friend digs, and then it's another friend digs. You have to find someplace really secluded, so that way there's no interruptions. Okay.
Now, he could have faked the stutter.
Dude, you guys know I have a stutter. I have a pretty bad stutter. I'm just really good at hiding it. I have trouble saying vowels sometimes, like A, like the word AOE is like very hard for me to say sometimes. So like how I do it, when you sing, for whatever reason, it uses a different part of your brain. So whenever I feel like I'm about to stutter, I just kind of like try to sing it. AOE, like that. It's weird. But also, there's sometimes when I think I'm going to stutter, so instead of using that word, I'll use like another word that means the same thing. Okay, my stutter isn't like the worst, but it does happen from time to time. But yeah, if you ever like think you're going to stutter, try to sing a little bit.
In the original video for some reason. However, people on the internet find that extremely unlikely given how real it feels. Grave robber or actor, the stutter is real. I've known several people with really bad stutters, and it's such a specific, uncontrollable behavior that makes it hard to fake. This kid's stutter feels unique and authentic. I've never...
Well, yeah, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure it does, right? I think when you sing, at least that's what I heard like a long time ago, right? It really
never
helped
seen
me.
an actor in a movie fake a stutter that felt this
So,
real.
I don't know that, so like, I mean, I thought it was true. If it's not true, it works for me.
It's possible one day the person seen in the video will come forward with the truth, but for now we have no idea who the person is or whether or not this extremely realistic looking grave robbing video is real. Strange sounds in the sky. Over the past 50 plus years, there have been numerous reports of people hearing mysterious sounds coming from the sky. In some cases, the mysterious noise resembles the sound of screeching metal, like someone dragging heavy metal furniture across the floor. However, the most commonly reported noise is a low-frequency hum that persists in the area. Those who can hear these sounds describe them as omnipresent and extremely annoying. And according to the BBC, the humming noise has been linked to at least one person ending their own life in the UK.
Jeez.
However, while there are likely many legit reports of people hearing a mysterious humming, which we'll get to in a bit, many of the claims are either fake or can be explained quite easily. For instance, the metallic screeching noise could simply be from a nearby railroad with a long freight train rounding a corner and causing vibrations. Some of these trains are incredibly lengthy and can take several minutes to pass. Similarly, in another video you can hear what sounds like an extremely loud trumpet. The original poster of this video titled this as a judgment trumpet, referring to the divine trumpet described in the Christian faith. However, given the poor weather conditions in the footage,
A judgment trumpet. Bruh has earphones on and is getting closer to the monitor to hear better. Truth equals ban in this stream.
it's likely just a malfunctioning tornado siren, like this. A few of these videos are also outright faked, with the mysterious sounds being edited in to generate views. Notice how the birds around the area appear completely unaffected by the loud, ominous noise, which would be unlikely if the sound was genuinely overwhelming the environment. Birds have sharper hearing than humans, and they would likely react. That said, there are still thousands of reports from people who can't be easily debunked or labeled as fake. Unlike the examples I've shown so far, the vast majority of seemingly authentic reports involve the persistent, low-frequency hum. This strange phenomenon seems to trace back to Bristol, England in the late 1970s.
Dude, imagine if you heard a sound all the time, like, and it never went away. I think that'd drive me insane.
The city council received hundreds of complaints from residents about a strange noise that was audible at night. One local newspaper even asked readers in the city, have you heard
tinnitus? Is that like tetanus? Can you get a shot for like a tinnitus shot? What is tinnitus? That sounds like a bone thing. Tinnitus. I never heard of that.
the hum? And almost 800 people said they had.
Is that where you hear the Oh, that's, yo, I've heard that before. Yeah, that high-pitched ringing. Oh, yeah. No, I've heard that. People actually have that? If you have tinnitus, you hear that nonstop?
French scientists back then proposed that the sound might originate from the ocean, suggesting that continuous waves could be vibrating the ocean floor. Now, this explanation might have been true for Bristol, but as time went on, more and more people around the world started reporting these disturbing humming noises. And it appears the Bristol hum is still present to this day. There are many theories that attempt to explain the bizarre global phenomenon. And these can get into some truly out there conspiracies, like aliens or secret
Yo, you guys ever think like there's a bunch of stuff that are present in our lives, but we can't see or hear it, so we're completely oblivious to it, dude? I think about that like all the time. What if there's like a ghost realm and there's a bunch of people that are like living on the same, I guess, like space, but not plane, I guess? Because our ears suck, right? Like human ears suck. So what if there's like noises that are constantly going on, right? But we just can't hear them. Dude, I think about that stuff.
Underground civilizations in the hollow earth. However, the most plausible explanation I found suggests that these sounds are more connected to the listeners themselves rather than their surroundings. Things like hypersensitive ears and early signs of hearing issues like tinnitus could be a major contributor.
Oh, tinnitus, yeah.
Another possible reason could be the increasing levels of anxiety and stress. A BBC researcher also noted that she only heard the hum when she was exhausted and stressed out, which further supports the notion of this mysterious hum being a psychosomatic or stress-related phenomenon. During my research, I even found the video claiming to capture the strange humming sound. But when I watched it, there was nothing unusual, just regular environmental noise. It's entirely possible that the person who recorded it was hearing something from inside their body, misinterpreting it as an external sound, which further supports the stress-related theory. However, this doesn't explain the hundreds or even thousands of other videos that do include the hum. And given the endless amounts of possibilities for each individual case, I doubt we'll get a concrete answer anytime soon. John Lang Fresno Police.
Okay.
On March 20th, 2015, a YouTube channel by the name Lang Marine uploaded a 3.5-minute video titled Fresno LE Harassment, Ford Crew Cab that stalked me and my residence numerous times. The video showed the same vehicle driving past the camera twice in 3 minutes. The uploader was a 51-year-old former Marine named John Lang living in Fresno, California. The video footage came from a security camera he had installed outside his home. And in the description of this video, he provided much-needed context behind the oddly disturbing encounter.
Oh, that sounds like a cool
According to
video.
Lang, he was critical of the way Fresno
only.
PD and Fresno Fire utilized their budgets online. So now they were stalking and harassing him in retaliation, and the Ford truck in the video belonged to either the Fresno Police Department or the Sheriff's Office. The next day, he posted another video of a man walking his dog outside his home. The video showed the dog and his owner stopping outside Lang's home for a few seconds and moving on, nothing too unusual. However, Lang claimed that the person in the video was a plainclothes police officer who was conditioning Lang's dog so that it wouldn't attack if the same officer broke into his home later.
What the
Over the next 10 or so months, Lang continued posting videos of shady activity captured by his security camera, like a guy in plain clothes coming up to his home, taking a look and walking away immediately. Or a police truck stopping outside his home for a few seconds and then driving away. However, the most disturbing of these videos showed a mysterious black van stopping outside his home, filming it with a massive camera for about 30 seconds and quickly driving away.
What the fuck?
Lang claimed that the device in their hand was a thermal imaging sensor,
Yeah,
and they were trying to determine whether or not he was home. By January of 2016, Lang was fully convinced that the Fresno police were planning an assassination. On the 16th of January, he posted a video about a cleaning company van parked outside his home. In the description of the video, he wrote, If I turn up missing or dead tomorrow, remember this van. I think I seen a couple of guys sneak out the side door and into the building when it was parked in the carport this afternoon. I've been causing the city of Fresno a lot of problems recently, which I now regret. Unfortunately, this would be the last video Lang would post on YouTube, because just a few days later, firemen found him dead inside a burning home with multiple stab wounds on his body.
Oh
this was
my
sad news for people who were
God.
following the story.
I got chills.
However, this was only the beginning of a much bigger conspiracy.
What the fuck?
You see, when the news of his death initially broke, the reports stated that he had a few stab wounds on his upper back as well. If this were true, it would validate all of Lang's worries about getting assassinated. This would also put the Fresno PD as the #1 suspect for his murder. However, when the Fresno coroner released Lang's autopsy report, it only mentioned 3 self-inflicted stab wounds on his chest, and there was no mention of any stab wounds on his back. Was the earlier report a mistake, or were the Fresno police trying to hide their crime?
Oh, they're trying to
This
hide it.
inconsistency led to tons of backlash and even a petition to reopen his case. But it remained closed.
That's
To this
crazy.
day, the John Lang case sits as a mystery. Was he actually getting stalked, or was he just severely mentally ill and paranoid? From my research, the answer seems to be a mix of both. First and foremost, it's worth mentioning that the Fresno police are well known for being ripe with corruption. A Reddit user mentioned a story he knew about the PD, stating, "I mean, my friend's dad was FPD for decades, and Jerry Dyer showed up with some officers and threatened him back in the late 90s, so it wouldn't surprise me if the cops were intimidating this dude." So, did the Fresno PD retaliate against Lang? Maybe. What's more likely is that Lang was getting more paranoid and losing his mind over time. From what I can see, the man walking his dog is doing just that, walking his dog, and claiming that he was somehow conditioning Lang's dog in just a couple of seconds is pretty out there. Even the suspicious van can be explained quite easily since the device shown in the video was just a film camera on a gimbal, not some high-tech thermal imaging sensor. As for why they were shooting like that from a vehicle, they were likely indie filmmakers who just didn't have the proper permissions from the city. However, all of this is just conjecture on my part. The real evidence that proves Lang's deteriorating mental state is the fact that he turned off the cameras he had in his home a day before the incident. The last saved footage on these cameras was of him sitting with a kitchen knife in his hand.
Jesus.
Not only that, but when the fire department arrived on the scene, all the entrances to his home were barricaded securely from the inside. If this was truly a murder, the killer wouldn't have been able to escape the crime scene without removing one of these barricades. Ultimately, if there was some big murder conspiracy behind Lang's death, I doubt we'll learn about it over 8 years later.
Damn, that one was
Evil
fucking
Stick.
weird.
In November of 2014,
Holy shit, that one was insane.
Nicole Allen purchased a pink princess wand for her 2-year-old daughter at the dollar store in Linden Avenue in Kettering. The name of the wand was Evil Stick, which is quite bizarre on its own, but likely went unnoticed by Nicole. However, the stick also promised things like luster, beauty, and wonderful music. The box art also featured the character Sakura Kinomoto, who is the protagonist of a popular Japanese animated show called Cardcaptor Sakura.
Of course it's we, bro. Of course.
In the show, Sakura is essentially a magical princess. So, the inclusion of just a cute-looking character made Nicole drop her guard even further. But she couldn't have been more wrong. The thing is, the inclusion of this character on the box art suggested an Asian origin for the product. And looking back, the Evil Stick does have a small, and I do mean small, resemblance to one of the wands Sakura uses in the show. The Evil Stick was most definitely a bootleg version of a product that should have looked something like this had it been official. However, the Evil Stick was much more sinister than just being a bad product. Unlike its official counterparts, the manufacturers of the Evil Stick bootleg had free reign to do whatever they wanted. And it's what they chose to do with this freedom that was utterly disturbing. You see, the top of the wand had a shiny foil fitted in, likely to imitate the shiny star in the official wand. However, this foil was hiding an image under it, and when Nicole's daughter accidentally removed the foil while playing with the wand, she was greeted with a downright disturbing image of a creepy-looking woman slitting her own wrist. This was likely petrifying for the little girl, but that
Are you fucking serious?
wasn't all. If you pressed the button on the wand, instead of the wonderful music it promised, the wand played a haunting laugh. This also turned on a light behind the creepy image, so the little girl would have likely seen it even if she hadn't removed the foil.
What the fuck? Dude, that sounds like something out of Saw.
When Nicole found out about the disturbing truth, she made her findings public in hopes of getting this creepy toy banned from stores. News coverage of the evil stick quickly went viral, but the toy remained as mysterious as it was creepy. And the disturbing image concealed within the toy was traced back to French photographer Butcher Ludwig, who appears to be a
The motherfucker's name is Butcher Ludwig.
master of creating the most nightmarish artworks one can imagine. Nearly all of his work is too graphic for YouTube.
Jesus.
For most of them, however, even a quick glance is enough to trigger your fight or flight response. As for why the gory, horror-filled work of his photograph was stolen to be included in a children's toy, no one knows for sure. The only other thing people learned about the evil stick after examining its package was that it was manufactured in China, and that's it. The packaging didn't have the name of the manufacturer. I even looked up the universal product code embedded in its barcode and couldn't find any relevant information through that either. This is just one of those things that really makes you wonder what other
Oh, that's just his name. Okay.
disturbing mysteries are hidden inside cheap children's toys.
Dude, that's so weird. Why would you put that in a kid's toy? Why would you put that in any toy? That's weird. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, it reminds me of how I opened Twitch and there was a talking booby bottom left. Not suitable for kids at all. Shut the fuck up. You're so annoying, dude.